Episode 5, Extracurricular. You know, sometimes I forget in these modern ages that RWBY is an action anime about 4 girls training to fight monsters that was set in a very competitive combat school. But the start of episode 5 just always amazes me. You would think that after getting a fight in episode 1 and in episode 4, we would just take a breather and just enjoy a bit more of the story. But I entirely forgot that Monty was just that guy. RWBY now has more of a structure to when the fights take place, but in the Beacon arc, especially during Volume 3, the fight frequency just went crazy. Like, let's just discuss how this fight came to be, because I am so curious. I definitely don't think that Pyrrha was like, yeah, I'll take on all 4 members of Team CRDN by myself, teehee, because that only pushes the narrative that she hates, that she's better than everyone else, and then it puts her on an even higher pedestal. So was CRDN just like, yeah, me and my team can take on the great Pyrrha and Glenda just looked at Pyrrha for her approval? I got no clue. Frankly, it doesn't matter. Maybe she just wanted to get revenge for them bullying her mans. This fight scene is top tier and dare I say top 10 in the entire series. That may sound like a huge stretch. I like it when the fights are more up and close. Fights like Crow v Tyrion, Cinder vs Raven, Yang v Mercury, and not like the huge set piece fights like Weiss versus the Lancerns, RWBY versus Cordovan, or even the Knuckle Leaf fight at the end of Volume 4. I prefer a lot more when the fights are just 2 people throwing hands, or guns, or blades, or in this case, a 1v4. His spine should be absolutely broken, aura or no aura. Alright, just look at this shot here. For a split second, I thought Jaune was Sun because of his yellow hair. I really want to say that the girl below Jaune is Nora because of the hairstyle, but like, her hair is such a wine red, it is crazy. Mercury wants to of course challenge Pyrrha, and she agrees. Look Pyrrha, I know you're a nice girl and all, but you just took on an entire team by yourself, and now you're accepting a fight with another student? There's like a reason why everyone thinks they can't talk to you when you do stuff like this. You know, I get it. You're here to get stronger and you want to push yourself. But like, you're at a 12. You can take it down to like a 9, you feel me? Like, we can just calm down a little bit. Back to the fight. The way Mercury uses his momentum to keep on striking at Pyrrha, the way we see Pyrrha on the defensive and how creative she can get, and of course Monty's genius and how we can feel Mercury striking Pyrrha's shield. The weight is there with each strike and it makes the fight feel so much more impactful. He of course finds out about Pyrrha's semblance. Pyrrha gets annoyed because Mercury just gives up. We see her pout, which is cute, and I'm really curious if this was an actual fight, who would win? It's a bit hard for me to tell since we've never seen Mercury in a real fight somehow. Him versus Yang, the plan was for him to lose, and I don't think he fully tried. I guess him versus Amber, but he was up against a legit demigod. Volume 4, he didn't have any fights. Volume 5, I'm gonna just skip over that. Yeah, that kinda sucks. We've seen Pyrrha in a real fight against Cinder, and she did as well as she could, but nothing for Merc. Actually, I completely forgot that he straight up bodied Coco and Yatuhatsu during the tournament, so I think he'd have a pretty good chance against Pyrrha.
That is all for today.
Okay, Blake, literally 1 minute ago, your eyes were perfectly fine and you didn't have bags. Like, girl, either lock in or just not be tired. Oh look, it's the rest of Team Sun. Scarlet and Neptune. I'm sorry, but Sage still isn't a character. Even in the books, this man gets shafted pretty hard.
So I hear there's this dance going on this weekend. That sounds pretty lame, but you and me, I'm thinking, not as lame, huh?
What?
You know what, son? That was pretty nice from you, okay? Too bad Blake is being all Blakey right now. We head back to the dorm where our team is rightfully worried about Blake's condition. I just wish we got some semblance of a timeline for how long it's been, because Blake can only do so much while still being a student. And honestly, out of Weiss, RWBY, and Yang, I would imagine that Weiss would be the one stepping up more to help Blake. Considering Weiss's history with the White Fang and the impact that it had on her family, this could be a potential opportunity for her to fix some wrongs with the White Fang, or just ensure that she doesn't lose anyone else. I know Weiss is a lonely child, but it's not like she was isolated from people. Anyways, we find out that Weiss and Yang are planning to dance, which is weird. These are 2 freshman students trying to organize a school-wide dance. Okay, you know what? Actually, fair point. Most of the upperclassmen are probably out doing real missions like coffee, but after this, Blake leaves and Weiss is greeted with a pleasant surprise.
Will you accompany me to the dance Sunday.
All right, like, as a guy, John, I get it. You're attracted to Weiss, a girl who won't give you the time of day, while ignoring Pyrrha. If this was a regular school where you didn't have boarding, then sure, do whatever you want. But brother, you live with Pyrrha Nikos, a girl who is insanely attractive, top of her class, well known, and get this, she likes you. This man is actually dense. You would think growing up with 7 sisters, they would have taught this man something. I miss training scenes between just team members. Training with another person really does build a connection between you two, as you're both just focused on getting better. And that's what I really like about the scene between Jaune and Pyrrha. If we just weren't in the middle of prepping for a dance, because my guy is just blind. He continues to friendzone Pyrrha, and this hurts to watch. Besides the painful dialogue here of Jaune being stupid, I wish we got to see more of RWBY and Yang training, Weiss and RWBY, and just Team RWBY trying to better themselves. Not on a mission, just them being focused on improving. Once they reunite at the end of 5, it's been pretty much trials by fire, which is nice, but some old-fashioned training scenes are a lot more personal. For instance, take Weiss and Winter's training scene and look how well that scene is done. Imagine if Blake and Yang were training instead of trying to ambush Robin. I say this because they're actually having a good conversation where they're talking about their past events and their feelings. But what happens? It gets cut short due to the time constraint of them trying to ambush Robin. I wish that we could have gotten a scene just like Weiss and Winter, but with Blake and Yang, where they were just training together and then they actually got time to sit down and talk about their feelings in their past events, reflecting on their journey that they've been through. Because frankly, there was a lot of tension in Volume 6 between the two. Of course, it kind of not really got resolved with Adam. More or less, they just kind of move on with their lives and it's never really brought up. I'm sure that Blake knows now the effect that she had on Yang when she left and how Yang felt about that, but it's just never talked about. Instead, we got Funky, which in my opinion doesn't add anything at all. I would have much preferred a scene between any of the 2 members with RWBY. I just would have. And that's what I kind of think Volume 9 was going for, but it just doesn't really do it for me. I feel like Volume 9 focused so much on us trying to get home that we missed like the crucial part of what I feel like this volume should have been. A very personal volume with our team. Alright, but I'm going off at a tangent. I'll definitely talk about that more once we get to Volume 7, 8, and 9. But yeah, that just, you know, training scenes good. I just wish we got more of them with the right people. Anyways, back with our villains. Nothing much happens, but like what is this? Is Cinder holding a piece of hair? Unless I'm missing something, I don't even know what this is. Mercury is just impatient. He says he hates waiting, and that makes sense. When Yang fat broke his leg and he was just supposed to wait and lay low, man couldn't even do that. That's episode 5 though. Mainly a setup episode, yet we still get an awesome fight and some daily laugh at Beacon, and just a lot of Jaune being stupid.